Hey guys, welcome to debzLife. So, here's the deal. If you're like me and you're looking for a well-built, premium feeling and a well-optimized, overall great flagship phone with a flagship price tag, but not exactly an Apple price tag that causes you to sell your second kidney, then for now, there might not be a single better deal on the planet than this guy right here, the OnePlus 8 Pro, or as I like to call it, the 9 Pro. No, not the newly announced OnePlus 9 Pro, just the 9 Pro. Because get it? 1 plus 8 equals 9. Cringy lame jokes aside, this is a genuinely amazing smartphone deal in the 2021 landscape, and this is obviously a phone which I'll be using as my daily driver moving forward in the year 2022, 2023 and so on, because I know that this phone will hold up incredibly well even though tech is moving at an incredibly fast pace. And I was actually able to make up my mind and settle on this phone as a choice for my own needs after watching the one and only Mr. Who's the Boss. Not just this phone, even the phone which I'm currently using right now before switching to the OnePlus 8 Pro was a phone that I bought after watching one of his videos. So yeah, that guy has really influenced me in many ways, and he also makes some of the most amazing videos on the planet. And yeah, I'm just super excited to get the OnePlus 8 Pro out of its box, so let's go ahead and do that. It is finally time. Let's dive into the unboxing. So inside this amazing tall red box, we have the OnePlus 8 Pro with 8GB of LPDDR5 RAM and 128GB of UFS 3.0 storage, and it is in the glacial green color. And for its budget, it is primarily competing with semi-flagship offerings that try to give you the basic flagship experience, but they aren't as decked out or as complete feeling. And for my preference, this thing is just on a league of its own. Okay, time to open the lid. First of all, we are graciously presented with the actual device itself. Let's just try our best to carefully get this thing out and place it aside. Then we get to the never settle box inside another box, and we are presented with some paperwork. And honestly, it feels like OnePlus has put a lot of thought into this thing. We get many things such as the Red Cable Club, plastic recycling, stickers, a quick start guide and a safety information. And we even get the letter from Pete Lau here, along with the SIM ejector tool. OnePlus has really put a lot of thought into this thing in order to make you feel like you spent your money well, and they have created a premium unboxing experience in order to make you feel satisfied. Very nice. In an age where the charger has disintegrated from certain smartphone boxes, OnePlus is doing a lot, and they have certainly won my first positive impressions with this unboxing experience. Now, we also get a transparent clear case which is actually textured, and it actually feels pretty good quality, and it has the never settle branding on it. Then we get the classic OnePlus red accent USB cable. And then, can you believe it? We actually get the charger. And mind you, this isn't even an average charging brick. This is the OnePlus Warp charger. This thing is capable of 65 watts of fast charging, which they claim can fill your device up to 50% in just 23 minutes. Okay then, now time for the best part, the device itself. I like the fact that the protective covering is also custom made and highlights the features of this device, such as the in-display fingerprint scanner and the wireless charger with the help of graphics. OnePlus could have easily used a normal plastic cover, but it's these little things that really give you a first positive impression, and OnePlus certainly knows that. And by the way, after holding the device, my first conclusive impression is that it has great weight distribution and it has a color which is somewhat green, but it also has a tint that is kind of blue. This glacial green color variant has a nice matte finish which gives it a great pearlescent look. And this sort of a finish is also going to be quite comfortable for your palms and is also going to be quite resistant towards fingerprints. This phone also comes with 3D Corning Gorilla Glass and an official IP68 rating, which gives this phone its fine durability. Also on the back, they have changed the typographic logo. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of this new logo. I think now it feels kind of generic and loses its personality. But towards the back side, one thing that I am certainly a fan of is the quad camera setup. This phone comes with an 8 megapixel f2.4 telephoto camera which is capable of 30 times magnification. It comes with an obsolete 5 megapixel color filter camera which I am not too excited about. I think it's a gimmick. And one thing that I am certainly excited about is the fact that both our main camera as well as our ultra wide comes with a top shelf 48 megapixel sensor. We have an f1.7 48 megapixel main camera with OIS built in, and we have an f2.2 48 megapixel ultra wide with no OIS. And if you weren't aware, this ultra wide camera also doubles as a macro camera for close-ups of objects and such. So this camera is definitely on par with the top dogs. This camera bump also tends to protrude outwards quite significantly, which means this phone will rock on a table quite a lot, and that would be kind of annoying, but you can easily fix that with the case. You know what this wide elongated camera setup reminds me of? It reminds me of a wide elongated button that you can press to make me happy. So go ahead, press that subscribe button, join the Debs Hippo tribe, become a Hippo. Anyways, as far as power is concerned, this thing is a beast. This phone is rocking the top shelf flagship Snapdragon 865 chipset, which is still overkill even after the release of the newly announced Snapdragon 888. And honestly, in this current landscape, there isn't even many demanding games or applications that pushes smartphones. So basically, it's just impossible to find anything that the Snapdragon 888 can handle smoothly, but the Snapdragon 865 cannot. And I am sure that this chipset will hold up phenomenally well and last me very well. Also coupled with the Snapdragon 865, this phone comes with 8GB of LPDDR5 RAM and 128GB of UFS 3.0 non-expandable storage, which means this phone will have great multitasking, great loading times, and overall it will have an extremely fast, smooth and instantaneous feeling. And not to mention, this phone comes with Oxygen OS, which is arguably the greatest software skin on Android period. And Oxygen OS also has great software optimization, which will make the day-to-day experience with this phone even more snappy, fluid and instantaneous. Now, if you take a look at the left side of the device, we will find the typical volume rocker, and on the right side we will find the power button along with the classic OnePlus alert slider. And this alert slider feels very tactile and textured, and I hope more brands start including this slider in their devices, especially if they are going to be charging you kidneys for their devices. Moving on towards the top side, we will find this really nice little accent ridge which makes the device feel a bit more premium and pleasant. And towards the bottom of the device, we will find the SIM tray, we will find one of the Dolby Atmos dual stereo speakers, and we will find the USB-C port. And this USB-C port is capable of that warp charge technology which OnePlus claims can fill your device up to 50% in just 23 minutes. And that is especially impressive because this phone has a pretty ginormous 4510 mAh battery. So the battery is indeed incredible. But that being said, the battery is still slightly lagging behind some of its flagship competitors. If you look at the other features of this device, such as its display, or its speed, or its software, it is on par, if not better, than some of its flagship competitors in certain aspects. But when it comes to battery life, it will provide you approximately 40 minutes less than some of its flagship competition. But at the end of the day, it is a very small difference, and not to mention, this phone comes with much faster charging than its flagship competition. Now, moving on towards the front side, we get to my favorite part of this phone, the display. The display is the most important part of any smartphone for me, and it should be for you as well, because majority of the times we are just staring at our displays, and if the display isn't good, our experience won't be good either. But this display isn't just good, no, or even great. This display is basically invincible. This display is the reason why I bought this phone in the first place. This display is the killer feature for me. Because get this, the OnePlus 8 Pro in front of me has a 1440p AMOLED, 120Hz, 10-bit color accurate display. When I first heard about this display, my immediate reaction was just, shut up and take my money. How can I not buy this exact phone after knowing about that display? You see, my current phone already has a 1440p display, so I would never in the right mind downgrade to a full HD panel. And all the phones in the OnePlus 8 Pro's expensive price range had those mediocre full HD panels. So if I wanted to buy a phone with a higher end 1440p display, I would either have to pay significantly higher and buy some other flagship and give up on features such as 10-bit color, or I could just go with the OnePlus 8 Pro, which I did. And let me tell you, this display is remarkable. First of all, it is 1440p, so it is going to be significantly sharper and more detailed than an average 1080p panel. It is 10-bit, meaning it can display up to 1 billion colors. Almost any other phone on the planet, including its flagship competitors, can only display up to 16 million colors. So having 1 billion colors on this display is actually quite impressive. And then there's the fact that this is actually a color accurate display, which is especially important for creators like me. And lastly, this is a smooth 120Hz display, which makes the experience just so much better. If you haven't tried 120Hz yet, trust me, you have to try it, because the difference between 60 and 120Hz is eminently massive. So far, I am blown away by this display. This is the kind of display that you will find in high-end editing setups in various production houses. And the fact that this phone in front of me has that is a big deal to me. Also, one more thing about this display that you might have noticed is that it is a curved display. Now, many people in this world actually don't prefer this sort of a curved display because apparently it leads to accidental touches and such. But here's the thing, I have actually had the opportunity to test the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge as well as the Oppo Reno 4 Pro for extended periods of time. Both of those devices have curved displays, but I haven't really faced the accidental touch issue all that much while testing those two devices. But that being said, I will be using this device all the time as my daily driver, so the likelihood of me getting accidental touches is very much possible. I guess we will find out. But one thing is for certain, curved displays are definitely more immersive, they provide you with a good way to use gestures, and they just look and feel more premium. Also, on the top left corner of the device, you will find the 16 megapixel f2.4 front punch hole camera. The camera spec is actually quite excellent. I am just a bit torn on the way how they have implemented it. You see, I am not a very big selfie fan by any stretch of the imagination, so I don't really use my front camera all that much. And I would much rather have the pop-up camera like the OnePlus 7 Pro and have my front camera tucked inside my display when I don't need it, so that I can enjoy the seamlessness of the display. But that being said, punch hole cameras also have their advantages. They help in making the device design slimmer, and they also help in providing water resistance and an official IP rating. Alright then, time for my final conclusive thoughts. This phone is jam-packed with features and it has to offer a lot. And this phone was in the perfect price range for me. You could obviously go for some other phone on a higher price range or a lower price range that fulfills your needs. But for me personally, this phone was the best deal on the planet because it has to offer things that matter to me the most. Things like a 1440p AMOLED 120Hz 10-bit color accurate display. Things like clean, well-optimized software skin. These are things that really matter to me, and I'm certain that this is the right phone for me. But that being said, this phone has a few tiny minuscule flaws. It has a slightly smaller battery than some of its flagship competitors, it has a camera bump that protrudes outwards quite significantly, and it has a few gimmicky features, but these are things that most people don't even notice, and at the end of the day, this phone is still a very nice overall complete feeling package. You know, the best way I can describe the OnePlus 8 Pro is that it is basically the Mr. Beast of smartphones. You know, Mr. Beast, he has the tendency to give away a lot of stuff, but sometimes in order to get it, you need to participate in challenges and such. Similarly, the OnePlus 8 Pro has to offer a lot of flagship features, but in order to get it, you need to pay a flagship price tag. Do I think it is expensive? Yes. Do I think it is worth the price? Absolutely. And you know what? Before we head out, let's just boot up the phone for the very first time, because I want to document this for myself so that I can reflect back upon this in the future and cringe at myself. Let's do it. And there it is, the classic OnePlus logo. Very nice indeed. So yeah, looks like that's all for today. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. 1 sub equals 1 less calorie in my diet. I am debzLife and I am signing out. Hippo away.